Hello, everybody. And yes, you didn't read this incorrectly. I am wanting to do our mindfulness sit tonight for 2 minutes for peace to be focused on rewiring our brains to become more resilient, to strengthen our resiliency. And so I had read about this paper that was recently published, and he's a neuroscientist out of Rockefeller University in New York, Dr. Bruce McEwen, and he was studying resiliency in children and resiliency being a part of the brain and how the brain is wired to be resilient. I guess we could say resilient probably 4 more times. But he has identified 3 evidence-based treatment practices that can strengthen um, or in some cases rewire the brain to become more resilient. And those 3 things are cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness based practice, and physical activity. So these are 3 different things that could actually give you stronger coping mechanisms and bounce back capacity. And who would think? Really, physical activity is the one that I think is the most interesting. But we all know that the more physically active that you are, the more serotonin is actually released in your brain, and that actually doing physical activity is something that can help relieve anxiety, panic, and depression. So we know that physical activity impacts the brain in a positive way. But I think this is really interesting research. But mindfulness practice, and I have been feeling this way for a while now, especially with some of the training that I'm doing with some interns that I'm working with at work, is that cognitive behavioral therapy is basically a secularized mindfulness practice, which mindfulness practice is a secularized Buddhism practice. But mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy have a lot of similarities. And I could see how focusing the brain to witness, think, slow down, which is part of what cognitive behavioral therapy does, is very similar to what you do when you bear the witness in a mindfulness practice. So, what does this have to do with 2 minutes for peace? Well, part of my campaign and vision in 2 minutes for peace is that we could all consciously find 2 minutes, two a day, to just become more aware in a quiet way of our breath. To, I guess some people would say, to meditate, to pray, to just have a mindfulness moment or 2 minutes of mindfulness, to see how that can impact you and how that can impact your response to the world around you. And I truly believe that even in 2 minutes, that you can really shift. And I feel that that's happened to me. I've seen it on my feed. I've seen when I've been in an anxious state or annoyed, and I decided I'm going to go on and do my live stream of 2 minutes right now, and I see it calm me down just by becoming mindful of my breath and letting go any ruminating thoughts. So this is really powerful research, and so I thought it would be a wonderful way to connect the dots and tonight and realize that yes, we're doing the 2 minutes. Yes, it's breathing, it's quieting the mind, it's focusing on the breath, it's relaxing the brain from thinking for a couple of minutes, and it's promoting a sense of peacefulness and calmness and well-being in yourself that hopefully penetrates out in your relationships with other people. But we now also are seeing in evidence-based research that possibly taking a couple minutes every day could help you strengthen your brain power in becoming more resilient. And I think whenever you can find more reasons to add to why you want to do a practice that could benefit you, the better. So here's a couple more reasons. Or you could go take a walk the dogs around the block for uh, you know, 10 minutes. That's going to help your brain too. This is pretty cool. I love this. Anyway, let's go. I'm going to turn the timer on because we're way beyond 2 minutes at this point. But I just wanted to talk about this research because I found it really exciting. So we'll go into our 2 minutes right now, and I'm going to set the timer. So just find a way that, a stance that is supportive of your spine, and feet on the floor is more helpful. I'm going to actually move my feet to being on the floor. And just, excuse me, become more aware of your breath right now. Just awareness of this moment just as it is, and the movement of the breath. No thinking about how to breathe or whether to breathe or pacing your breath. Just noticing that which is already occurring, which is you are breathing. And perhaps if you have your hand on your chest like I do, you're also becoming more aware of your heart beating. And that there's a couple of rhythms going on. There's the rhythm of your breath and the rhythm of your heart. And they are connected. Your breath is your source of life, and it's also your source of being more resilient. Allow that idea to float in this mindfulness meditation right now. And that's 2 minutes. 2 minutes for peace. Allow yourself to come out of your mindfulness sit and take a few breaths here to recognize any shifts that may have happened in the last couple minutes of conscious mindful breathing. Notice how you might feel, how your body might be feeling, your emotional state. Wishing you all a very pleasant evening. Peace.